Good evening. Liam here. Facebook Live. It's Saturday evening. It's 7 o'clock. Central European Time. 1900 Central European, 1800 or 6 o'clock in the UK, Greenwich Mean Time. And it's time to share a little bit of poetry with you. My name is Liam Kennedy, and I've been writing regularly now for several years. These are the 2 published books. A third is on its way. And it's some of the unwritten poetry that I'll be sharing with you this evening, which has been written recently. Now, over and above that, I would like to begin by reaching out with a huge, enormous, gigantic thank you to everyone who watched this 45, 50-minute live poetry reading in the course of last week. Live, we might not have been that many, but by the end of the week, much to my amazement, I had just over 1,300 people had actually listened to the poetry reading. And to everyone who is listening, who watched in the course of last week, a big thank you on my behalf. I find it brilliant. I find it wonderful that there is still a community of people who have that intrinsic interest in such an ancient art, which is the art of actual putting words together and to transport meaning, to transport imagery and pictures, ideas, thoughts, wisdom. Good evening. There's my wonderful sister and her husband, Ed. What a pleasure. Thank you for your time. So, as I said, thank you for all of those 1,300 people who, in the course of the week, listened to the last reading, the reading of poetry from last week. These live videos in Facebook, they are automatically recorded, and you can actually watch them at your own convenience. You know, if I know a lot of people, 7 o'clock Saturday evening, I know it's COVID, but are out socializing, doing this, that, and the other, and it's not really appropriate. Anyway, for me, it fits, and I always look forward to this immensely. What I'd like to start with this evening, I'd actually like to share a little bit from the prologue of the first book. I'd just like to read it to give you an idea. The poems written in this book could be freshly spoken to family, friend, or lover, for in the speaking of poetry, it is that you truly liberated. The words, like notes of music, each with its connotation, meaning, and significance, within a line. A musician would play the script of notes to create the composition. Here, your voice is the instrument, your mind, the backdrop of content, which enables the poem to spring back to the life it so dearly wishes to participate in. It's a joyous occasion when again, we moderns, with all our electronic devices, share amongst one another the spoken words of poetry. These poems tell about issues, stories, and inspirations which spring from our human condition. They are categorized under themes which are pertinent and modern. Enjoy. So that was taken out of the prologue for this book, which was published December 2019. December 2019. Now, the interesting thing about this book, I do want to share one sentence, and that is, it has each of the poems, as you can see at the bottom here, that is a QR code, a quick response code. And every single smartphone on the planet has an installed QR quick response code reader. Now, when you scan that code with your smartphone, it connects you to the website and you automatically get an audio recording of me reciting the poem. And it's even more interesting than now, because now it's just direct one-to-one and there is no music, but I've been able to underscore all of that, those poems with music. And I must say, the result is really and truly amazing. It knocked my socks off. I was more than impressed, and I'm sure you will be as well, should you be interested in ordering the book. Yeah. So, perhaps enough said, and let's get down to the nitty-gritty. Now, in the course of the last week, I want to share poems that I've written and that I have posted on my blog. I have a blog page called The Poet's Blog, and they also get posted on my website called thepoet.me, and I also post on Facebook and Instagram. But it's always one thing reading someone else's poetry and actually hearing the author reading the poem himself, and perhaps also adding a word or two about the metaphor, the idea which inspired that particular little piece of writing. Now, the theme which has been occupying me in the last week or two has been the theme of love. Love. And not only romantic love, which I think is just one level, but the idea of love as it's been written about through the ages. When we look at the idea of love as a metaphor, it's about this metaphor that I have been exploring and trying to dig deeper into revealing some of the secrets contained within the metaphor of love. Because the metaphor itself carries so much more than the ideal romantic of love, which we've all heard about through Hollywood especially. It's become popularized. But there is much more. It's the deep energy of the universe and how that manifests in all different levels of creation. So perhaps enough said about the metaphor of love. Let's look at one or two poems where I've tried to reveal some of the deeper meaning as I have come to understand it. Now, there was a poem which I finished yesterday, and that's the one I'd like to start with because it fits so adequately. And it's called What is Love? What is love? Now, before I embark on reading these poems, again, I just share the idea of using what I call divergent focus. A poetry reading is not a performance on a stage. It's something different. You know, that we don't have a band up here. We don't have dancing girls and flashing lights. There's nothing other than the content and the medium carrying the content, which is my spoken word. So don't concentrate on me. Try and ignore me completely if possible. The divergent focus enables you basically to leave with your consciousness, leave your immediate vicinity and sink back into your subconscious awareness. Peak up the sensitivity of your listening. Seek for the metaphor, the rhyme, and the understanding that the images and the words convey. If you like, if it's easier, close your eyes. There we go, that's it. What is love? Love moves throughout the universe, from light into life. Love germinates the life-giving garden of the world. Love transforms the physical to the metaphysical. Love imbues the metaphorical through the inspiration of the spiritual. Love creates further when skill is surpassed. Love embellishes the beautiful to the realm of perfection. Love enables the transmutation of emotion to the responsibility of consciousness. Love springs from the soul of the universal. Love is eternal. Love is oceanic. Love is love. So this was more these statements and insights into the profound diversity of how love can actually be conceived. Yeah? Love creates further when skill is surpassed. Love transforms the physical to the metaphysical. When we take love to something, whatever it might be, we imbue it. We imbue the metaphorical through the inspiration of the spiritual. So we take the metaphor and we imbue that with love, and in that there is the insight to something which is invisible. This and these are some new or ancient aspects of how we can also understand love, other than just a large beating red heart and the warm lips of the person that is so close and dear to you. So, the next poem is called The Feather. And this is a very beautiful poem. And I'd like you to listen very closely to the metaphor. The metaphor, of course, being the feather in this case, right? And how it appears, and how it moves, and how it's carried, and how right at the end of the poem, the metaphor again reveals itself as the transcending meaning and strength of what the poem actually is all about. The feather. The wings I'm born with, their invisibility holds my power. To soar where few birds cry, high where eagles fly. Listen, listen, for what you perceive is magnificent. What you see is amazingly clear. With these pinions wide outspread, eyes closed, I glide across endless seas, cross snow-covered peaks, to meet you, hand in hand together, where we found what we flew for, what we discovered was but a heartbeat from eternity, a wing stroke from infinity. The feather with which this love song is written. So here the metaphor takes the invisible wings. Now the church shows us this metaphor all the time for angels, humans having wings. But I think the wings that we carry are invisible because they're not physical. They belong in our imagination. And it's with our imagination, when we close our eyes, can we fly high across endless oceans and snow-covered mountains and land hand in hand where we found what we flew for. And what was it that we flew for? What was it that we found? We found the feather with which this love song was written. Another little poem about love. This next poem, written in the course of the last week, is called The Pilgrim. And after this, I will then be reaching into the books and reading a couple of poems directly from the pages. But here we are. The Pilgrim. Now, we all know what a pilgrim is, don't we? And we all go on a pilgrimage. And the metaphor in this particular poem is really the pilgrim himself, Santo de Compostela, this ancient and yet modern pilgrimage which thousands of people still go on. My daughter also spent weeks walking all the way down to Santo de Compostela on a pilgrimage. And I've used this metaphor to reveal the story of discovering one's own inner landscape, one's own inner spirituality. The Pilgrim. When we walk as pilgrims along the road of love, I wear my cloak of gratitude. My sandals throw up dust from the past. Selfishness dissipates. Pain becomes a liberation. Images of where I've been and done, each step, each day, bringing me closer to God. This appreciation strengthens the substance of my soul, filling every nook and cranny of my life, bringing me back to where we all began, over there, on the other side, towards which I am again marching. A pilgrimage to this place called me. So there's the idea of the pilgrimage. And where is it that you are moving towards? no place other than your deep inner intrinsic being, your own true self, your own spiritual self. Bringing me back to where we all began, over there, on the other side, towards which I am again marching, a pilgrimage to this place called me. Good. Well, thank you. If anyone has any ideas or thoughts or a comment, that would also always be much appreciated. So, I'm now going to share a poem or two from New Millennium Poetry, an audio literary experience, volume number 2. Now, something a little bit different. This poem is called Tango. And as it is one of my eternal themes that I write about and which inspires poets the world over and through the course and length and breadth of living time, it's love. It's love again and again and again. And here we are in a little poem called Tango. When love dances, it's in the spin, it's in the twist, moments in movement, glances caught between crescendo and cantate, magic encapsulated, my between, your pirouette, our tango. Its expungence and dynamic, liquid love drips from this passion, this flow. We have become intrinsic instrumental chords, strung between love, harmony and more, resonant, we melt, intimate, we stamp a fragrance of eternity to this day, perfumed in the way love moves to tango. Yeah. So perhaps in the way the poem is written, you can hear the movement, you can hear the music, and you can visualize that, the dynamic, the amount of energy which is always there in that wonderful form of dance. Intimate, we stamp a fragrance of eternity to this day, perfumed in the way love moves to tango. So, yeah, here's a simple poem simply about a butterfly. So, little metaphor, but more description, descriptive poetry in this case, called The Butterfly. But I like it as well. I love this one. My glimpse was caught as it fluttered by, a blur of blue in a bright warm sky. It danced, it skipped, it floated high, carried by air on the whiff of a dream, to seek a destination green, a flower, a colour, a place unseen. This creature born is light and free, reminding us to watch, to see, to feel the simplicity. All around, with all their might, our senses move on buttered flight. The butterfly is teaching us to touch with sight, with sound, with taste, with love. the gift our world from God above. So, yeah, something so simple, uncomplicated. The butterfly. So, I hope you're all still bearing with me. Still got another poem or two. Here is a poem I've just plucked out of the book, page 75. It's called Returning. So I'm going to read this. Returning. Should I miss you but only for one day? Those hours lost, fallen by the way, each one cold and lonely, for naught to speak. My thoughts, though, flow from morning till the peak of dawn. Your beauty, heart and happy, your smile glows from deep within. You do this magic in me, find places new to win. So call I to the rising, the warmth of a new day near, to stars which also leaving sing heavenly, you to hear. This day new to discover, the love I knew so well. My partner heart again will start rejoicing with this bell. Rings with your returning, happiness calls to me. My love, my heart, my darling, again, you are with me. The Returning. Haneli, what a nice surprise, all the way from South Africa. Greetings. Lovely that you could make it. Lovely. Good one. Yeah, we've been reading poetry now. I've been reading poetry for about half an hour. And we're not finished, so you're still going to get it live from Eckernförde. Now this little poem is about finding love. Finding love. Now, as I mentioned before, when we take the metaphor, when you unravel the metaphor and you see more in it than just the romanticism of love, and see that love is in itself an energy. It is a field of energy which pervades creatively through all the cosmos. And through the energy of love, it reveals itself in form and shape. The plants, the animals, the soul of the universe was in the poem I read right at the beginning of the evening. Love is, in fact, the creative soul of the universe itself, of the universal. Not the universe, but the universal. It's the very essence of everything there is, the energy. And so this little poem is about finding love. So, Carol, thank you for your time. I'm happy you made it. Finding love. No, you do not need to search for love. You require no journey, no barrier to overcome. For love waits within us. Within the folds of silk you wear to the feast, hidden gentle between the rhyme of your thoughts, felt at times riding hard across your heartbeat. Love is here. We seek, although we might rise up, arms outstretched to the rising dawn, calling quietly into the face of God, take me, free me, be me. Unbeknown, it's in letting go of this I become free. I become this love in me. So there we see the idea of the poem is revealing the intrinsic energy of love within your own being. No, you do not need to search for love. You require no barrier to overcome, for love waits within us. Within the folds of silk you wear to the feast, hidden gentle between the rhyme of your thoughts, felt at times riding hard across your heartbeat. Love is here. Love in me and love in you. So, that was a poem taken from the second edition, volume 2. But now I'd like to reach into the first book. And here we've still got another 5 or 6 minutes. Time to read another poem or two. And should anyone have a comment or an idea, a poem they'd like to listen to, please just drop me a note. I can read your comments, which I appreciate immensely, of course. Now, as this last poem has been discovering the intrinsic quality of love within oneself, this poem is called The Mind of Now. And here, the idea which I've been striving to reveal in this poem is how mindfulness, the awareness of your own conscious mind, your wakefulness, enables one to connect to something which is almost metaphorical, or to connect to that energy. And let the poem speak for itself. The mind of now. Live the full life of the mind, continuously seeking out exquisite peace. Actually, the tranquility to perceive it. Be exhilarated by new ideas. Be intoxicated by the romance of the unknown. Life, not mine alone, but ours. Love's breathing with the seasons too, sparkling with the starlight, laughing with the children. They are my reminders of me. They are memories of who I used to be before now. Being beautiful, being enough, being mindful, being true to you, being me to who I was born to be. I'm not my mind. It's fullness which fills me though. My mind, yours too, or who? So I'll read that last line again, because it ends with this question, and you need to listen very carefully to get it. Being me to who I was born to be. I'm not my mind. It's fullness which fills me though. My mind, yours too, or who? So, something to ponder over. Meditation. I think that speaks for itself, and the poem and the words of the poem strive to enable the reader, the listener, to grasp a deeper understanding as to where and what it is that the meditation, what it actually means. There's so many preconceptions to the word meditation because it's something which has been practiced by humanity for thousands and thousands of years. And of course, through religions, it's been an intrinsic part of many religions, even to this day. But meditation can also be something quite individual, removed from religion, remaining an individual experience of finding your own inner quiet place of peace. And it's within that deep peace of your own consciousness that the energy of love, the universal love, not the romantic, the energy of love reveals itself in your own being. So this is a poem exploring those ideas. Meditation. I start with meditation. Quickly, though, a power within my mind allows the me to be aware. Henceforth, mindfulness includes me. Oh, includes care, sorry. I'll reread that. I start with meditation. Quickly, though, a power within my mind allows the me to be aware. Henceforth, mindfulness includes care. I'm not my mind, I'm not my body. I am not me. A child of the universal, a person of the light, a being with mighty perspectives to share, to initiate the good, understand the understood, move on forward to the edge of me, reach the space of spaceless individuality. This, not God, is true humanity. This is free. Fly. This is free. Fly. So, in that deep inner space, in that moment of a child of the universal, a person of the light, a being with mighty perspectives to share, to initiate the good, what is it that, where does that take us? What does it mean when you actually reach that level of deep inner peace and awareness? You initiate good. You understand the understood. You move on forward to the very edge of who you are as a human being and reach the space of spaceless individuality. You reach the space of spaceless individuality. And that is not God. This is true humanity. This is free. Fly. So, almost 1:45. Everyone's still with me? Maybe just a very, very last poem, or have you had enough? Hands up. Anyone want to send me a hands up? One more, yay or nay? A last poem. Here we go. And this last poem is called The Way. And again, it's a metaphor. It's a metaphor for the journey of going from one's day-to-day busy life and consciously stepping back from that to make contact with your deep inner intrinsic being. The universal being, the universal love, which exists within all of us. And we're given so little opportunity in our modern lives to actually communicate. Good evening, Mark. Lovely. You're right at the end. Last poem, but you made it nevertheless. Well done. Thank you. Thank you for your time. You made the long way. Yeah. And the last poem of the evening is called The Way. So, using your divergent focus, relax, let go, go in, and as you start to walk the way, it's the way you walk that finds you. You talk and walk, you listen, you sing. Its flow, its life, we hear it ring. You recognize the cosmic sound. Its steps which ring on sacred ground of thoughts which interlace with space. Between the music of the spheres, sounds of joy ringing in my ears. So as you start to walk the way, it's the way you walk that finds you. The path of life, times looked, times learned, the steps you've often pondered, of pushing out the edge of fear, of finding new the meaning. The way is here for you to find. So strive on out, unbind your mind. Be the love in all mankind. Now, as you start to walk the way, it's the way you walk which finds you. So there the idea is, it's not the goal, but it's the way itself. It's actually getting there. It's doing it. It's becoming it. Which is something which rises up within you as you make your own journey, as you make your own way into who it is that you are. And with that, I would like to say thank you very much, everyone, for your time. It's been a pleasure sharing with you some of these ideas, some of these poems. God bless, take care, namaste, and hopefully I will be here next Saturday to share another little bit of poetry with you. Take care. Good night.